Hey guys, welcome to the channel. We're quickly going over today's video, which is AOC and Chamath are going to be talking about what is going on in the market and their response towards what we are going to see. And so I'm very excited about this. I'm really excited for the fact that this is actually finally happening. So we're just going to sit here and see what the commentary is and what they are actually talking about and how we can benefit from what they have to say. Now, there was a letter out from Congress earlier today that actually talked about Robinhood and the fact that Robinhood does transaction with the brokerage firm that owns the hedge fund that everybody is going against with the GameStop calls and stock. So let's see what is going on here. And let's listen up and see if there's something that we can talk about.
Anyways, really thrilled to be doing this Twitch with you all. Obviously, a lot's going on, right? We got a couple things going on, and a lot has been going on with a lot of different collisions online and on the stock market. GameStop, AMC, Robinhood, Reddit, politics, all of it has just been kind of colliding this week in a pretty remarkable unfolding of events and what we're seeing on the stock market. And I think that, someone's properties of camera stores. Shoot, guys.
Hey guys, just make sure that you guys can hear me and hear her. And if you can, just give me a thumbs up in the chat, and that should be enough.
Sorry, I'm getting some instructions here, but the instructions don't on the stock market and match with any of my settings. Hold on, guys. I may have to. I will be right back. They're gonna try to fix this. I will be right back.
Okay, so she's having some issues, obviously with the live, with her OBS, which is fine. I mean, we can still wait here and see what is gonna happen and what she's gonna say, which is what we're more interested in than her technical issues on the OBS. So, she is live. Hey Malik, what's going on? Hey Rothik, what's going on, guys? This is a very important conversation. I hope you guys can hear me. I hope everything is clear, and I hope you guys can hear AOC talking. Now we're gonna wait for Chamath to come on because what he's gonna have to say is going to be extremely important, and I can't wait to really hear about what he has to say. Okay, so AOC is back on. She's trying to figure it out with her OBS.
Someone says it's an autofocus issue.
Probably is.
Oh, look at you guys. You guys are so phenomenal, sending me screenshots of what options to deal with.
That's amazing.
Okay. OBS.
Okay.
Properties.
All right. Let's see what AOC has to say. I'm really excited to hear what she has to say. This whole Robinhood fiasco has just been insane. And the fact that we were able to get this from her tonight is a big deal, because tomorrow is going to be an amazing day in the market. I'm very excited to see what Robinhood is how Robinhood is going to react. It is still early. They can still do things and say things that may change the course of their company's future. What do you guys think? What do you guys think is going to happen, and what do you guys think she's going to say, and what do you guys think that Chamath is going to say? I'm really interested in knowing what you guys think is going to happen.
For your patience in this craziness as I do this in person.
That's fine. That's fine, AOC.
Okay.
You're good. You're good.
All right.
There you go.
I think we're getting somewhere.
You got it.
Thank you all. Okay. Are we all set up? Yeah,
we're set up. Okay, we're good.
Did it.
We did it.
Wow, guys. Okay, shout out to at The Gun Run on Twitter for showing me how to do this correctly. We would not have a functioning live stream if you did not just actually text me a screenshot of
That's pretty good.
So,
all right.
Way better. Thank you so much.
If Robinhood gets in trouble, what happens to our money and stocks? Nothing. We are insured. If you are below
Hooray.
$250,000,
I'm so stoked
you
we
are
fixed the
good.
camera issue. Only took a few minutes. Anyways, so I'm really excited to be doing this with you all. Really appreciate it. Let's start back to the top. As I was saying, it's been a pretty major week, hasn't it? We basically saw a huge amount of developments and kind of a weird collision of all different social forces, factors,
Hey
economic
Nizar,
factors.
great seeing you. We're commenting on
inequality,
AOC and Chamath's video.
kind of
So stay tuned.
spontaneous.
It's going to be interesting. We're going to
digital
have a good time seeing what they
community
have to say.
action.
And hopefully Robinhood
pairing
will do the right
that
thing
with
tomorrow.
what's happening in the stock market, colliding with the present fact, and increasingly the stock market is, to everyday people, feeling kind of less and less tethered to everyday life. And now just kind of everyday people starting to rush into these mass collective actions. So what does this mean?
So it seems like she may be having some issues with her OBS, but we're gonna just wait here and see what happens. This is a day that's gonna go down in history, guys. So this is a really big deal. So for those of you who are here and who are watching, this is a day that is going to go down in history for all of us, for everybody who trades in the public markets or in public equities. I personally only started trading in public equities earlier this year. Before that, as you all know, I was a real estate investor, a very successful real estate investor. I exited real estate and moved over to the stock market. And now I am really excited to share every bit of knowledge that I can with you guys. I don't think people are gonna panic. I think the Redditors are holding strong. In fact, if you look at the amount of stocks that were traded with these stocks that are under fire right now, a very small percentage of them did sell. So, okay, let's see what's going on here, guys. I think we may have a glitch on her end. I don't think the glitch is on our end. Let me just confirm this really quickly and make sure. Well, it does say that we are live, guys, and it just seems like there may be a glitch on either the Twitch app. Yeah, there's definitely a glitch because there's about 360,000 people on her server. So Robinhood should be sued. So Robinhood actually is getting sued. Robinhood is currently already in multiple class action lawsuits. Okay, we're gonna wait patiently here, guys. In the meantime, if you have any ticker symbols, please put them in the comments. I'll take a look at them. I'll write them down and I'll make sure I get to them if there's something that you guys are interested in talking about. We have 319,000 people on her topic on retail trading. So we are trying to figure it out. Okay, let's try. I'm just going to try to refresh this really quickly one more time to see if we can get her to kind of say something. Yes, she is moving. Okay.
Working for a safe and ethical financial system. She spent 7 years working on Wall Street and subsequently became involved in the Occupy Wall Street protests back in 2011. And for people who may not know, almost about 10 years ago now, there were these major
okay.
Oh, is everyone okay? Is it working?
I'm just
Okay.
gonna remove myself here so that we can look at her and see what is going on.
Can you guys see me? Can y'all see me? Okay, it says it's working. Oh, okay, it says you guys might have missed an introduction, so I'll just go through it really quickly. But yeah, so Alexis Goldstein, she is a senior policy analyst at Americans for Financial Reform. She spent 7 years on Wall Street, and then after those 7 years, became involved in the Occupy Wall Street protests about 10 years ago. And so that was, for people who need a refresher, about 10 years ago, there were these huge, really inspiring protests that happened about 10 years ago that were just kind of this, I don't want to call them spontaneous, because frankly, the organizing was a long time in the making, but the actual actions just started to really explode on a scale and a level that we hadn't seen in a long time. And in fact, this rhetoric around the 99% and the 1% in our economy that get all of the gains, that rhetoric actually comes directly from the Occupy Wall Street protests. And when I was just getting out of college, fun fact, I actually worked right off of Wall Street, not as a banker or anything like that, but I worked for a nonprofit, an educational nonprofit. And there was one of the alumni in the nonprofit that had donated, some office space. And so for a few months at that time, I was actually working in that neighborhood, and I would pass by Zuccotti Park, and I would look at all of and kind of engage with all of these organizers there at the time. And it was pretty wild. And so a lot of people, if you actually kind of look at the long tail of it, that language and really that class consciousness that was brought about by Occupy, I think really set the stage, particularly for millennials who are graduating college around that time, into just an economy that sucked in an unjust recovery. And while, people worked and tried in Washington to have some kind of just recovery. I mean, this is around the time that my family, we almost lost our house. And so, Occupy really brought this consciousness. And to me, when Bernie was running in 2016, just 4 years after Occupy, it really didn't, his campaign didn't come out of nowhere, right? I think it really built not just on his decades of experience and decades of organizers, but it also built on, the freshness of Occupy and the clarity with which the protests brought to the national conversation. Anyways, so that's Alexis. I'm gonna hop in and let's go talk to her now. All right, let's see. Are we here? Am I in it?
Okay. We're gonna wait for her to figure this out.
All right, Alexis, are you there?
Okay.
Uh-oh. Perhaps my audio is not porting
guys,
in.
we know
Hold
that
on.
she's having issues with her OBS.
Okay.
So
let's see. One
so
second.
just bear with her. She's gonna get this done, I'm sure. We've
Thank you
gotten
all.
so far. You're welcome.
Let's see. Okay, I can hear you now. Let's see. Can you folks at home hear me? Let me see. I'm wondering if the folks in chat can hear me. I can hear you, Alexis. Alexis,
Okay. You know what I'm gonna do, guys?
Okay, great. Awesome. Can the folks at home hear us?
I'm gonna put this this way so that we can actually see.
Oh, they say that they can't hear her. They can't hear you, Alexis. Let me see.
This may actually be. Hey guys, let me know if you if you're okay with this view.
Can you all hear Alexis? Alexis,
just so
can
that
you do
we
like a
don't
count
have
to
any
10?
technical difficulties on my end or on her end, because this is very important stuff. I wouldn't want you guys to miss this. So if this is working for you
Okay.
guys, I'm gonna leave it
People cannot.
at this display.
I don't know. Some random
But if it's not,
people
I'll change
are
it back to
saying-
large screen.
Okay, hold on. Let me see if I can find you. Thank you all for your patience. Let's see.
She has 305,000 people that are on her Twitch, which is probably why she's having issues.
All right, let
And
me
things are
see.
slowing down a little bit, or have slowed down a little bit for her.
I think. I'm trying to see if I can add her. Let's see. Sorry about this. Oh boy. I don't know. Let's see. Let's see if Leo's out here. Leo, if you are out here, if you can tell me how to connect the Discord chat.
It does seem like she's having issues.
Oh, goodness me. Oh, goodness me.
Okay.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, so for you all at home, Alexis is on here. It says that her thing isn't there. It says it's an audio situation in OBS, but it says you guys can hear her quietly, but I'm wondering if that's just picking up on my headphones. Let me see. Shoot. Okay. Settings. Okay, can you all hear me? Can you all hear it now? Oh, can you try again, Alexis? Can you all hear that? Can you all at home hear that? All right, well, I changed the output volume to make it as high as possible. And then the audio input is everything that they're telling me that it should be. Oh no, sorry for you guys. Yeah, I don't, All right, Alexis, we're gonna pause you real quick until I get some instructions on how to fix this. 1 second. All right, sorry everyone. I don't know what the deal is.
The shows about AOC
before.
and Chamath are going to be
As
talking
you guys know, we've played Among Us,
about
and the chat's been
GME
fine.
and retail investing and how Robinhood and other
it's just
platforms
not
have
working.
stripped away basically our rights as retail investors. So we really want to hear what they have to say. So
No! Literally everything had been working before we set this up, and in true form, it's not working. We've done Discord before. We've done all this stuff before. It's just not turning out. Okay.
I just want to make sure you guys can hear her. Just give me a thumbs up in the comments if you guys can hear what she has to say.
Yeah, I don't know. Everything was working. It's not working now. So we're just going to kind of do let's review what happened this week. So for those of you who don't know and aren't aware, there was all of this volatility around GameStop stock this week. And a lot of people may not be sure about what was actually going on. And it has a lot to do with a couple of key concepts known as shorting stocks on Wall Street. For those of you who don't know what hedge funds are, for those of you who may not have been on Reddit before, it's your first time, going on it or checking it out this week. Bless you if that's you. You are incredibly blessed to not be exposed to some aspect and also just be like crazy on the internet. But for those of us who are crazy on the internet, really understand how these community actions have really organized to create and manifest essentially on the stock market. I'm trying to see if, sorry guys, I'm trying to see again.
So the freezing, guys,
issue.
is from her. She's having issues. I hope she gets it resolved, whatever it is.
My desktop, 1 second, y'all.
Okay, look at the comments. Look at the amount of comments per second that she's getting, and it's just crazy. Okay, I think this was probably something that she needs to fix. and let's just hope she can get it fixed, because this is very important. I really am excited to hear what she has to say. This is for all of us retail investors, so we're gonna stay here for as long as it takes just to be able to get this done. We really need to hear what her plan is and what type of action she can take for us retail investors, because that would be something that would be historical. Let's just say historical. Literally, this is going to be a historical day. The fact that this is happening, and even her topic is GME and retail trading. So we are all retail traders. None of us over here are institutional traders. So this video was made for us. If you guys are invested in the stock market or have any exposure in the stock market, you guys want to stay here and listen to what she has to say, and listen to what Chamath is going to have to say later on today. So let's hope she fixes whatever needs to be fixed, and we'll get back to it. It seems to be OBS issues. I hope she's able to fix her OBS. I wonder what she uses. She probably uses an older version of some OBS system attached to a webcam, which is why she's having issues. Guys, there's 302,000 people, and that number is now going down quite a bit. And I'm assuming the number is going down because she is having technical difficulties, and there's probably people who are dropping. Oh, there she is.
Okay.
She's back.
Let's see if this is
Okay,
working.
she's back. Guys, AOC is back. Let's see what happens.
If this doesn't work, then I don't know what we're doing. Okay. Hello, Alexis, can you hear me now? Can you all hear me in the chat? Can you all hear her in the chat? Alexis, can we count down from 10? Okay. Hold on, no. Let's see. No, that's still not working. Okay, 1 second. We're gonna try to sort this out. I'm not sure why this isn't working. They say that they can hear you really, really low. Hold on, let's see. Does that work? Hold on. I think I might be able to get this. Hold on. It says, but I don't know what they're saying with my desktop audio being muted. Oh, let me see. That's not even an option in my. Maybe I need to. Yeah. No.
This is taking a little longer than we anticipated, but we're here. We're waiting for AOC to make a statement and tell us a story. Obviously, she seemed like she started off telling us a story.
Does this work?
And then kind of took it from there. So let's see what's going to happen.
Oh, no. Now I can't hear anything. Hello? Now I can't hear anything. All right, guys. Sorry, we're going to have to pause this real quick. I'm going to restart in a minute. Sorry about this, everybody.
Okay, guys. It seems like she's having technical difficulties. Let's see. Let's just hope she gets whatever it is that she needs to get sorted. Hey guys, I was getting word that TD Ameritrade and Webull suspended trading earlier today. Is that right? Any of you have first-hand experience on who was suspending trading today? Because that's something that we really need to talk about. And I'm sure that's something that AOC is going to cover today. Can anybody verify the fact that either TD or so the Thinkorswim platform or Fidelity's platform um, also blocked you guys from trading? Because this is huge news, guys. This could be like enormous class action lawsuit material. Hold on, let me refresh this page really quickly just to make sure that we are indeed still on the live. Yeah, so she's offline. It seems like AOC is having technical difficulties with her OBS. I am going to continue to run this live because I think what she has to say is going to be extremely important to me and to you guys if you guys are invested in the stock market. So just bear with her, I guess, and we'll just wait it out and see if she gets all this resolved. So I don't know if you guys can see the comments on AOC's live, and it seems like everybody is still hyping up GameStop. They're still hyping up AMC. We're still hyping up Nokia. We're still hyping up Dogecoin. How many of you jumped into Dogecoin? Just out of curiosity. I didn't jump into Dogecoin, but I'm just interested in knowing how many of you ended up on Dogecoin earlier today. And if you guys made money, if you don't mind telling me how much you made, I'm just curious to know how many of you jumped on. That is deregulated. So I don't think that there's anything Robinhood can do about Dogecoin. I do see Dogecoin probably rising in value overnight. So that is something that we also need to be monitoring, by the way, guys. So once again, guys, it does seem like she was having some technical difficulties. Anyways, we're here. We need to hear what she has to say. We need to hear what Chamath has to say. So we're going to be here until we figure out exactly what is going on and how retail investors are going to get compensated for the damages, if any of us had damages at all. And like I said, if any of you made money in Dogecoin, I'm just interested in knowing how much money you made and what type of trades you took, or how much, or how high the percentage is that you are up on your trade right now. We're still here, guys. We're gonna be waiting until we figure out exactly what is going on. Let me see if I can just shrink this as well, just to kind of see where we're at. So it does seem like the entire stream went offline. This was quite an important stream, to be honest. So it does seem like she is offline. Let me try to figure out what is going on with the stream. So yeah, so I am on the right account, that is for sure. I just need to figure out what is going on with her stream. So it seems like the stream may not be happening right now, because it shows, what it shows is that there's a stream that already happened and it got 55,000 views. And she had older streams where she was playing games, I think it was. Either way, we are going to see if we have any streams scheduled today. And it does not seem like we have any streams scheduled for later today. So I don't know what happened there. We're still gonna have to figure it out. We're gonna wait patiently, because I know that Chamath is also supposed to be coming on, and it is very important that I hear what Chamath had to say. Now, if you guys could tell me if you're hearing anything about the live stream, just Just let me know if you're hearing anything about, or if she's moved the live stream off of Twitch and somewhere else. Just let me know, because I can't check it over here as is. I am looking still, and it seems like there's nothing scheduled on the page. I am gonna refresh this one more time to see if we can get anything done here. Okay.
Got
Okay, so she is back
really hairy
on.
and tangled in the back end.
That is amazing. Okay,
so thank you guys so much for your patience. I'm super excited. We are back. I think we fixed the situation. We're gonna have Alexis. Let me tweet.
All right, guys, we are back online.
Goodness.
I'm just gonna mute
it was
myself.
something that was not super intuitive. So shout out to our mod team.
Can you guys hear everybody? Okay,
See, I'm
so
tweeting
she
out
is
the
back
really
on.
hairy and tangled in the
Okay,
with a
I just
lot
want to
of
make
love
sure you
and
guys can
respect
hear
that
everything.
my
If you guys can hear
inner
me
person
and hear
came
her,
out, and,
just put that in the
I'm
comments
very
below,
thankful
and we'll take it from there.
that you all were there doing tech support for me. Okay, let's go. Let's kick it to Alexis. I don't want us to delay anymore. So let me hop on here. Let's see. Alexis, are you there?
Can you hear me?
All right, I can hear you. Can
It's
our folks at
amazing.
home?
Perfect,
Can our
that's
folks
amazing.
at home hear Alexis?
Yes, we can hear
Can
you.
folks hear me?
Woo! Okay, we got a yes. All right.
Oh, hooray.
Oh, goodness gracious. Thank you so much for joining us today, Alexis, especially on such short notice with these crazy events going on. So thank you. And, you know, in our last stream, I ended the last stream, but for folks who are just joining on, Alexis
Okay, guys,
is a
I'm
former
gonna get
Wall
out of
Street
here.
professional who then took
I'm
her
still gonna be
expertise
here in
and
the
her
background
experience and
commenting.
insight,
Just
turned
gonna
to
get my
Occupy
screen
Wall
off.
Street, and now she works on financial reform. So, Alexis, do you want to tell us a little bit about your story before we get into it?
Thank you again, Congresswoman, so much for having me tonight. It's really a pleasure to be here with you. So I worked on Wall Street for the beginning of my career. I interned there. I worked there right out of college. I went to school in New York. I went to Columbia. I studied computer science, and that's just, who recruited at Columbia for the computer science majors with the banks. And I worked there for about 7 years. At first I was a programmer, and then I moved into kind of more software design. And, it's a pretty crushing place to work. It's, and every birthday I would sort of look back and say to myself, what am I doing with my life, right? I'm making more wealthy people even more wealthy, and that is what I'm spending my time doing. And so in 2010, I quit. I did a little bit of tech consulting, and then in 2011, Occupy Wall Street happened. And I started going down to the park after some young women were pepper sprayed in a kettle by the NYPD. And at first I was a little bit skeptical, but I was really moved by the process, which was so different than the very hierarchical framework that I was used to on Wall Street, right? It was consensus driven. We were all listening to each other. Everybody's voice was really tried to be heard. There was this concept of progressive stack, where they would write down everyone that wanted to ask a question and then try to have people ask questions in sort of reverse order of, your power in society, basically. So it was really a learning experience for me. And then I co-founded what I call the world's nerdiest book club, which was this group called Occupy the SEC. And we studied this comment letter. We wrote a comment letter about a regulation called the Volcker Rule, which was meant to lower risk that Wall Street firms were creating by trading for their own accounts. And we wrote this very, very long comment letter, and it got a lot of media attention because it didn't fit the narrative of what people thought when they thought about Occupy. They were like, Occupy Wall Street, not only can they not read, they definitely can't write. And here we were writing this very, very long comment letter. So after that, I moved into nonprofit advocacy, and now I work at a group called Americans for Financial Reform, and we basically fight for a safer and fair economy overall. And so that's my story.
Mm-hmm. It's incredible. And so it's crazy too that how the world works in that, I was telling folks earlier that around that time I was working for a community organization that happened to be in the Wall Street area. There's just like donated space in the area for a few months. And so it's so weird how we were probably within a block of each other back then, and now it only took 10 years, right?
Right.
So
a decade later.
Yeah, exactly. A decade later, we're on a Twitch stream together. So I'm really excited. You wrote this super insightful article, this week about everything that was going on with Wall Street, GameStop, all of, the stuff that's going on. So, if you could give for anyone on this stream that isn't fully caught up on the situation, if you could give a 1-minute overview on where we're at right now, kind of like you did in your article, and then let's dive into some of these deeper questions and where are we today, and where are we in terms of the positioning of hedge funds and everyday people in this entire situation.
Sure. So if people want to read the article you just mentioned, Congresswoman, the easiest way to find that is on my Twitter. It's just at Alexis Goldstein, and it's my pinned tweet. But I'll do my best to do it in a minute. But before I get into that, I just want to sort of take a step back and say that I think the events of this last week lead us to some pretty deep questions about how do we want to marshal the resources of society, and what do we want to pay attention to, right? Do we want physicists designing trading algorithms, or do we want them focusing on climate change? Mm-hmm. So that's sort of my big picture question for everybody. So you just want sort of a walkthrough of what happened and who was involved?
Yeah,
is that right?
So let's talk about broad strokes for folks watching that have, haven't quite wrapped their mind around it. How did we get to a bunch of Redditors squeezing hedge funds to the point where there's this idea that, hedge funds might have to get bailed out? Or people floating this idea?
Sure. So I think it's a combination of things. I would say we have a K-shaped recovery right now, right? We have some people that are doing terribly, that are still unemployed. We have some people who are fortunate enough to work from home, who have some disposable income and extra time on their hands. Some of the people in the latter category have begun trading stocks in their spare time at home and, working remotely with nothing else to do. And so this Reddit forum that's been around for a very long time called Wall Street Bets, I think grew and grew and grew, just as a lot of people, again, and I want to say this isn't everybody. I know a lot of people don't have disposable income to trade stocks and to trade options. So in this forum, it grew. And one technique that I would say Wall Street certainly has used against each other historically is trying to squeeze what are called shorts. So a short, so you can buy stocks, right? That lets you own a tiny piece of a company. You can also bet against a stock, and that's called shorting a stock. And the way that works operationally is you borrow that stock from somebody else, you immediately sell it, and then you hope that it goes down. And if it goes down a lot, you can buy it for really cheap, you return it back to the person you borrowed it from, and you get to keep the profit. So that works fine and good if the stock goes down. But if the stock gets to go up and up and up, now you're losing a lot of money. Now you're starting to sweat. Now you're starting to get nervous. And you either have to
Guys,
hold
if
it
you
out,
guys have some comments,
and
just
hope
put
that it
them
turns around,
while they're talking in the
or you
comments
have to buy it
section.
back for much more money. And so the sort of scheme, I guess, or the idea on Wall Street bets was to find stocks that they liked and thought were good, that were very heavily shorted, buy them, tell everybody and all their friends to buy them, and that would force the shorts to eventually give up and have to buy the stock back themselves, which would only then raise the price even more. I will say that the other thing that made GameStop and all these other stocks go up even higher than that is people were also buying what are called options. And options are a derivative. This starts to get into an alphabet soup, so feel free to break in at any time.
Of
but
course.
An option gives you the right, but not the obligation, to buy a stock in the future for a set price. So an option on GameStop that expires in a week might have what's called a strike price, and the strike price is the price you get to buy it at in the future. And why am I saying all of this? When you buy an option, you buy it from somebody on Wall Street, typically a market maker, who usually owns that stock. And they are saying, I have 100 shares of stock and I am agreeing to sell it to you in the future at a set price. But if they don't own the stock, they have to buy the stock to hedge the position. So you had short sellers who were potentially going to have to buy GameStop. You had people on Wall Street bets buying a lot of GameStop. You had people on Wall Street bets buying options on GameStop. And then you had the people selling the Wall Street bettors options also having to buy GameStop stock in order to hedge their option position. So that sort of created this upward momentum in the stock. I do want to say that I don't think it's that simple. I think the important thing to remember about Wall Street is they don't want other people to know what they're trading. They want to know what their competitors are trading, and their competitors want to hide it from them. They pay a lot of money to try to figure out what their competitors are trading. And all of a sudden, you had a Reddit forum that was telling everyone on Wall Street not only what their position was, what their plans for the position was, and what they were trying to get their friends to do with the position, which, is actually Wall Street's dream.
Guys, we
is
have
to know
about
what other people are
200,000
going to do
people on
with
the
the
live,
stock
so
in the
it may
future.
twitch
So
every
what
now
I
and then.
suspect happened is, in addition to all these people on Reddit buying, in addition to the people who were hedging their option sales buying, you had a lot of people on Wall Street saying, oh, this is going to go up and I'm going to get ahead of it. And I'm going to ride it all the way to the top. And when it starts to crash, I'm going to ride it all the way back to the bottom. So that's sort of the shortest possible version I can give about what started this.
So in a way, with all of the potential activity, and please correct me if I'm wrong, but in a way, are you saying that you have all of these Wall Street actors that are seeing what's going on potentially with this online activity and saying, well, we know that there's going to be a high volume of buys ahead of time, so I'm also going to buy under kind of the guise of all of this online activity going on, and then potentially make out on top of it as well.
Yes.
That's what you're saying too? So
yes, that is my suspicion, yes.
So you suspect that this is not just Redditors buying this stock, but that is also potentially larger actors on the market, and that's something to explore, that this is potentially larger actors on the market looking at activity happening ahead of time and then getting ahead of it that as well, and almost using that as a veneer for riding this stock.
Yeah. And there's one other wrinkle to all of this that I think is important for folks to know, which is a lot of folks have used the app Robinhood, which I like to think of as the Facebook of stock trading. And I say that because Facebook is sort of designed to keep you on Facebook, right? It's designed to grab your attention and keep your attention. And Robinhood is very similar. I would describe it as gamified. I know a lot of Robinhood folks would disagree with that assessment. That's just my personal assessment. But Robinhood is free. It doesn't charge commission. And the way that their business model works is they sell their order flow to market makers, which are these sophisticated Wall Street participants who execute the orders for them. The market maker they sell the most of their flow to is a hedge fund named Citadel. And Citadel is not just a hedge fund. They are also a market maker. They are also a technology company. They are owned by a billionaire named Ken Griffin, who is out of Chicago, who has funded some very questionable things in his political giving. But Citadel pays for Robinhood's order flow. And strangely enough, or maybe not so strangely, one of the hedge funds that Wall Street Bets was very excited about blowing up, Melvin Capital, was rescued by Citadel after it blew up. So Citadel is paying for the order flow on Robinhood, which is driving up the price of the stock, which crashed one hedge fund. And then Citadel sort of bought that hedge fund on the cheap after it crashed.
And so, for folks at home, so that we can put these dots together, because I think this is an important relationship for us to communicate and map out with you. So basically, also what you're saying now is that you've got Melvin Capital, right? Melvin Capital is the hedge fund that was shorting GameStop. They were the folks that were saying, we're going to make a ton of money. We're going to make a ton of money off of GameStop's stock going down. Wall Street Bets comes in, potentially with folks on Wall Street looking at what Wall Street Bets is doing to kind of supercharge this activity and say, you know what, we're going to make the stock go up, which would, of course, put Melvin Capital into an extraordinarily compromised position, which would essentially prompt them to get bailed out by one of the groups known as Citadel. Now, so Citadel then swoops in as one of the actors to bail out Melvin Capital, but Citadel's owner also co-founded a different Citadel. They're both connected, hence the same name by the same owner. They are two technically different entities, though, but the same founder.
Right. So Citadel LLC is the parent company. Citadel Securities is the market maker that buys the Robinhood order flow. But the parent entity, Citadel LLC, is the one that swooped up Melvin Capital. And Congresswoman, I should just add there were actually two Wall Street firms that bought Melvin Capital, or rescued it, I should say. Citadel and another one, now I'm blanking, of course, on the name, but it's the new fund of Steve Cohen, who you may know as the owner of the New York Mets. And Steve Cohen is famous for all the wrong reasons.
Is what the chat point.
Thank you. Steve Cohen is famous, or infamous, I should say, because he used to have a hedge fund called SAC that pled guilty to insider trading in 2013 and had to shut itself down. And so this is the next iteration of Steve Cohen.
Right. So we've got Citadel and then Point 72, who bail out Melvin Capital, who are relying on GameStop stock to tank. So Citadel swoops in to bail out Melvin Capital. But then meanwhile, this connected Citadel under the same founder, it also receives the advanced information from Robinhood. That's what you're saying?
Yes, and I should clarify that's not unusual. That is allowed. It is something called payment for order flow. During the Obama administration, they raised the question about whether or not that was a good idea. They asked one of their SEC, which is a market regulator, they asked the SEC's advisory committee if payment for order flow was just kind of disguising how you were really paying for stock trading. So the idea is Robinhood is free, you don't pay commission, but the broker is supposed to make sure that they give you what's called best execution. So they execute your trade and either get you the best price or they execute it really, really fast. Citadel is paying Robinhood for that order flow, and they pay them via these things called rebates. And Citadel might pay, whatever they pay. A different market maker may pay a little bit higher rate. And what is not supposed to happen is the broker is not supposed to give the order flow to the highest bidder, because that would prevent them from giving their customers best execution. People should know that Robinhood was accused by the SEC in December of 2020 of not giving their customers best execution. That's and true. Actually costing them $34 million. Even when you accounted for the free commissions, because of their failures to provide them with best execution.
So you're saying just a month ago, Robinhood was in trouble for not optimizing their customers' trades?
Yes, it was covering a period of time farther back in time, right? It was, I think, in the 2018 range, but the action came down. Robinhood did not admit nor deny guilt in the action, but they did have to pay a civil penalty to the SEC to settle the charges.
And they did pay that penalty to the SEC. Yes. So these were charges that came up from the SEC just 1 month ago, but these were they were regarding actions that happened in 2018, but that this is documented past behavior from Robinhood.
Correct. And the other thing is Robinhood wasn't disclosing, another part of that action was Robinhood wasn't disclosing that they were paying our market maker for the order flow. So why do I bring all this up? I bring this all up to say, is Robinhood doing the best by their customers? Are these fintech companies that are so easy to use that lots of people are using to trade stocks, are they doing right by their customers? I think that's an important question that regulators should be asking right now.
So let's talk a little bit about what happened today with the freeze that you saw, not just on Robinhood, but on, I believe, E-Trade, Wellbull, et cetera, where you have a lot of these retail, these retail platforms, all of a sudden putting a halt to some trades on not just GameStop, but there was also some activity, I believe, around AMC and other stocks that have been particularly identified by the subreddit Wall Street Bets. Tell me a little bit about what is going through your head when you see activity like that. And, for folks at home, there are multiple possibilities here. I think a lot of people sometimes want to jump to certain conclusions, but in order for us to really responsibly look at the situation, it does seem like there's more than one potential explanation, but I'm interested in hearing what's going through your head when you see that, and what are some of the possibilities that could arise?
So I just don't know why Robinhood made the decisions they did to stop trading, allowing purchases of certain single name stocks today. Their decision was a little different than some of the other brokerages. So for example, So think of it from the point of view of the brokerage, right? Especially if people are selling stocks short, which has the potential for unlimited losses. If your client goes bust and enough of your clients goes bust, then the brokerage goes bust. Mm-hmm. So what a different brokerage did, not Robinhood, but one called Interactive Brokers and some other brokers on the that regular people use, is they just changed what's called their margin requirements. So if you wanted to buy a stock in some of these really active, volatile names today, you had to supply 100%. Does that mean you basically just had to front all of the money yourself? Which might sound funny to people who don't trade stocks, but believe it or not, you can sometimes trade stocks with borrowed money. So they're basically saying you can't borrow any money, you got to trade cold hard cash if you want to buy these stocks. So that's what I sort of would have expected to see from everybody. Instead, what we saw is Robinhood just straight up saying you can't trade in any of these names. Now, I don't know that we know any more than that. Was there, direction coming in from regulators? Was this just a decision made by Robinhood? I don't think we know, but I was a little surprised at their action as it related to what other brokers did. And I should just say, if we can just rewind very slightly, because I forgot to mention this before, about the whole idea of payment for order flow. The reason that's important is because the firm that you give your order flow to knows what your executions are, and they can run in front of it and front run and trade ahead of it and make profits, which may be fine or may not be fine, but I just thought that that's important to mention.
So you're saying,
Citadel.
Sorry, you're just about to say, and Citadel's the one who receives that advanced information from Robinhood.
And this is very important,
all
guys.
All of these folks, but
trading on Robinhood
that advanced
is
information
not
only
free.
lasts
You
for
need
a
to
few
understand
seconds,
that.
right?
Correct, but Citadel is known, and other entities that do this market making are known for their high frequency trading algorithms. That's their specialty. They're experts. They hire tons and tons of programmers, and so they're allowed to make profit ahead of that. But I think the question that a lot of people have, and we just don't have enough information to know, is were they doing more with that information than just executing the trades?
And so those are some of the questions that seem to be outstanding, right? Because if Citadel's
Yes.
receiving this advanced trade information from Robinhood, I go on my phone, except not me. Congress should own individual stocks, so I don't have any. But but hypothetically, if I'm on Robinhood and I hit my order along with thousands of other people at that moment, Citadel is potentially able to get that information milliseconds in advance. And in those milliseconds, their trading algorithms could adjust, knowing that advanced execution information. Is that correct?
Yes. And I'll say that since a lot of the Robinhood trades are very low volumes, what they often do is batch them together. And so Citadel might be trading in much larger volumes and then matching the orders as they batch them together. Again, all in this sort of time of many microseconds. But that's what they specialize in doing, is this very, very high speed, high frequency trading, as it's called.
And so I think here, for folks that are watching at home, this is what raises a bunch of questions, not just from me, but also from, I think, this is why this is starting to attract the attention of regulators, members of Congress, et cetera, because there's a lot of policy questions that come up. Policy questions about shorting stock, policy questions about, as you said, some of this advanced information. You mentioned the Obama administration started to raise some questions about the potential for this. And I think this also is about power, right? Because everyday retail investors don't get that. Even if you were able to, who knows, program something at home, you do not have that millisecond advance information. You just don't have the market power to have that, right?
Right. And I think that's the reason why, yes, lots of people are making money right now. Yes, one or two hedge funds are blowing up, but there's still always going to be a systemic disadvantage that retail has. And that Wall Street is always going to have the advantage. They have more data. As you said, Congresswoman, they're faster. They can execute things faster. And so they're always going to run circles around the little guy, even if it seems like they're losing.
Yeah, and so I think this is something that's important for us to kind of talk about too, because this is ultimately so much of what has made this story, I think, really exciting to people at home, is that at least for this 1 week, at least for these, 3-4 days, it finally felt for so many people at home that are seeing this happen, people were really feeling like everyday people were finally able to collectively organize and get back at the folks who have historically had all the marbles on Wall Street and force one hedge fund into an existential crisis. But that is what has happened in this short window of time, people really feeling this rush of organizing, etc. But it still raises, I think, this who are all of these rules, and who is the concentration of power and money still benefiting and still advantage towards. And some of those underlying rules haven't changed, right? It's still the wealthy and still the powerful.
Right. And I would say that, I'm always the skunk at the garden party here, but unfortunately, when volumes are high, and they've hit record highs this week, Wall Street prints money. They were incredibly profitable in the pandemic when lots of people were trading. I am sure they were incredibly profitable today. This is what they do every day. They trade in, they trade out. They don't care if the market goes up or down. They make money on volatility, and volatility is churn. And so I think the larger question here is, how do we want to design our economy? Do we want to incentivize people who study science to write trading algorithms instead of working on climate change? Do we want people who are graduating with PhDs to pursue these more lucrative jobs on Wall Street, in order to make more money for the wealthy? I mean, look, I did that when I got my computer science degree. I can't say that I would recommend it, but unfortunately, the way we sort of incentivize and organize our society right now, some of the really wonderful brain power is being spent figuring out how to optimize your options trading algorithm.
Yeah.
And I think if we can do some of these bigger, more structural things, and this is, something, Congresswoman, I think we have in common, like if we can cancel student debt, if we can, have a wealth tax, if we can regulate these big, powerful Wall Street actors, we can hopefully start to rearrange the incentives of our society so some of the brightest people aren't, using their PhDs designing trading algorithms on Wall Street. And that's sort of the bigger picture that I hope people think about.
Yeah, no, I mean, that is so powerful. I remember.
What are your thoughts on what she
around
just
the time
said?
I was graduating
Let me know what your
college,
thoughts are
it
on
was,
what she
It
just
was so
said.
similar. The folks that were on campus that are recruiting, it's around the time that I graduated, it was, Silicon Valley, it was big banks, consulting groups, etc., that kind of suck up so much of the most talented people in our society, and yet what does that talent go towards? And if it's to make, do we really need physicists making trading algorithms certain milliseconds faster, or do we need that brain power in stopping climate change, or actually, some of that, and even if it's not just STEM fields, but even folks that get picked up by consulting organizations that are really profound generalists, strategists, etc. Should that be going there, or should we be creating opportunities? This is one of the big, plug alert, but this is one of the tenets of the Green New Deal. We need to create 20 million jobs across skill sets, from basic labor in actually building infrastructure to some of the most, sophisticated scientific skill sets, and investing and expanding those skill sets. We need to create 20 million jobs across the board minimum in order for us to make the infrastructure and policy changes to match the science of the crisis of our time. And one of the challenges towards that is the fact that so much of social capital and human capital is being concentrated in arguably some of the wrong sectors at this time, or disproportionately being weighed into certain sectors. So I think you're completely right on that.
I think it makes me think back to the priorities in the CARES Act and the priorities we might even have right now, right? We have a real opportunity to provide people with a way to actually survive the pandemic and get cash in people's pockets, cancel student debt, change our healthcare system. And is that what we're going to do? Or if we have another market crisis, which like we did last spring, is all of the energy of Congress going to pour into saving the bond market, which I would argue is what happened. And I'm sorry if you can hear my dog.
No, you're
good. Whining. That's the kind of thing that I hope we can sort of reorient ourselves in this new year about what are our priorities and how can we make sure that people can do what they want with their lives and not have to hustle and, pursue the best paying job, but can actually maybe try to contribute to society. But it's going to take policy, right? And so we're counting on you and all of your colleagues, I think, to make that happen.
No, of course. Thank you so much for joining us, Alexis. We really appreciate it and your insight.
Thank you so much, Congresswoman. It's great to be here.
Thank you. All right. So that was, so incredible. I hope you guys got some insight from there. We had some lineup switches. So we have an amazing addition for you all today. Y'all, I need some drum rolls. We have, I mentioned earlier, we're going to have the stock guy on. In my whatever technical difficulties during all that time, we also had a lineup switch up. We have one of the founders of Reddit, Alexis Ohanian, coming on too. Let me hop on here on the live.
That was a cool
surprise. Can you all hear me?
I did not know that was going to happen.
Oh, can they
This
hear
is going to
me?
be amazing.
Alexis, I think you're muted. I think the stock guy's muted too.
Who do you think the stock guy is, guys?
All right. Oh my goodness. Amazing. Thank you both so much for hopping on.
Absolutely.
Holy cow.
Fun to be here.
Let me start with some introductions. I'll start off first. Alexis, you need no introduction, but why don't you reintroduce yourself to everybody, and who you are and what we're talking about today.
Sure. Well, a long time ago, I co-founded a website called Reddit right out of college, and no longer at the company. I'd resigned from the board back in June of last year. But and these days I'm running a venture firm I started called 776. But I spent a lot of time on the internet, and a lot of folks have been asking for my take on what this is, and I've been learning and watching, really, I think just as everyone else has, because this has been quite unprecedented. And I'm happy we've got the stock guy here, because I even as a layperson, it seems to me that a hedge fund shorting like 130% of the float seems mathematically impossible, and seems like quite a problematic place to start. But it was some clever traders that saw an opportunity to take advantage of that and make an investment. And here we are now, still watching it all unfold.
Awesome. And Stock Guy, would you like to introduce yourself to everyone watching?
Yeah, absolutely. Before I say I got to do this for legal reasons, I am not a financial advisor, for entertainment and education purposes only. Now that we have that out of the way, no, I'm just a regular guy. I've been trading stocks about a little over a decade. Started during the 2008 crisis. A couple years ago, I started streaming here on Twitch. I was looking for a place to kind of talk stocks and hang out while I was trading. Everything I found on the internet was just kind of not my style, so I started streaming here. It started picking up. I started noticing that people actually wanted to learn about not just stocks, but the economy, finance, personal finance, about interest rates, how to be better off financially. It's something that's not taught, maybe by design, and a lot of people never get ahead in life. And I thought, hey, if I could use some humor, I could use some knowledge, and teach people some life-changing things that they really, really need to know, and they want to watch me. Hey, I'll do it. And I've been blessed to have this is my career now. And I think it's amazing. And this entire debacle has just been a whole nother level.
Yeah, so let's get into that. I'm interested in hearing from both of you. What has it been like and I mean, you've been in this, like, in a driver's seat in a way, watching this unfold, having your profession already be breaking these types of developments down to people, and then to see something as unprecedented as what happened this week. Walk me through a little bit about, like, what you're hearing folks ask you and what you make of this entire situation, and kind of what the horizon is from your perspective.
Well, I think the first thing I want to touch on is I thank you for having me. I think the one voice that's been lost in this whole conversation is the retail trader. Everybody having this conversation is a hedge fund manager or a pundit or a billionaire or a news person or a politician talking about the little guy, the retail trader. Well, nobody asked the retail trader, so I do appreciate the opportunity to, not that I speak for all, but I think that it's nice to be able to hear from that. I actually just did a YouTube video explaining how we got here in this situation, about how the entire GameStop situation folded out, right, or started, came out. A lot of people are putting the blame on Wall Street Bets, and I see this argument on all the newscasts about, well, it's this group of retail investors that got together to conspire to take down the economy and take down the big bad wolf. And I think that that's easy. It's so easy to find someone to blame when the blame starts way before Wall Street Bets, way before Reddit, way before any other forum. This is just a group of people who, Wall Street Bets is not a group, it's an idea, right? Anybody who is a retail trader who trades stocks, who wants to make some money in an economy that they're never going to retire, they're never going to own a home, they're never going to have the way of life that their parents and grandparents had, so they get an opportunity. They get an opportunity, and they see that opportunity to get something, to actually get ahead and to taste what, and the second they do, and that's where we're at right now. And I'm not going to get into legalities of it because I'm not a lawyer, but this is where we're at with it.
Yeah, Alexis, I'm so interested in hearing your perspective, because in so many ways, you created this platform, but like so many other things, part of it is something that you help build, but then to see the creative ways that people use it, how it's manifested, etc., it's just a completely different level and iteration. And first of all, I always think it's very humorous when anyone tries to explain what Reddit is on CNBC or anywhere else, much less like Facebook in a congressional hearing. But to hear people kind of talk about this, I'm interested in your take, like the community and almost internet organizing end of this. Like, what is it like watching something like this? And could you ever in your wildest dreams, however many years ago, when you were cooking up Reddit in your dorm room?
No chance. No chance could any of this have been predicted. I think, and I want to stress and just echo, I think Stock Guy's spot on here. There's not a singular monolith community of, Wall Street bets, just like there isn't a singular monolith community of K-pop fans or vegans or, right? This is community. This is something that spans platforms and the internet, and especially in the last 10 years in particular, as social media and smartphone ubiquity and all these things have connected us in real-time ways to organize around ideas, around concepts. That energy is something we as humans are really good just biologically at rallying around. And yet, we seek out those communities. We seek out that sense of identity. We seek out that sense of connection, and the internet supercharges it because of scale. And what we're seeing is we've seen echoes of it in so many different arenas in in society across so many different industries. And now I see so many stories from people that remind me of conversations that I had and heard and saw after 2008 and the recession. And I think this is something that is a part of a new normal that we're all now going to have to navigate. And I think one of the byproducts of where I think it continues to go is more of a push towards a decentralization and more of a push toward individuals being able to take ownership, even individuals being able to get access to do the same things that institutions historically had a monopoly on. And I think that's the thing that blew me away as I understood it. And I know Stock Guy can go in on this. Like the act of shorting a company like this and whatnot is behavior that we really need to call into question, because it doesn't seem at all sustainable when you can do that to more shares that are actually available. And it exposes some real fundamental flaws. And I really hope, and I think so many Americans are hoping that the little guys, the ones who normally end up picking up the tab, are the ones who will ultimately continue to be empowered and supported, and not the banks, not finance, not Wall Street.
Yeah. No, I mean, and the Stock Guy, you spoke to this so well, where it's like little over 10 years ago, all of us got screwed, frankly, in the recession. Mm-hmm. And so much, I think, of this moment, too, is that we never saw a single person who was responsible for, 16 million or so foreclosures, just millions of people losing their homes, getting evicted, getting their cars repossessed, having to live off of rice and beans for months at a time. We didn't see anyone go to jail for that. And we didn't see virtually anybody held accountable in any serious way. And it almost felt like this week, one of the reasons that there was this huge, almost populist bottom-up type of rally on what was going on was that it felt like almost the first time that anybody was holding these folks who game this system accountable or have any sort of answer in that way. And now I'm not here to say that I'm not here to put any moral weight on stock trading, but I think there is a visceral core to what was happening. I mean, my family, we almost lost our house. And
I'm just going to quickly see what's happening with Dogecoin while they
help
speak.
my mom keep her home because of so many people that were engaged in just this reckless behavior in the economy. And so, from the perspective of a kind of a retail trader, I'm interested in, I don't know if you were hearing a little bit about the conversation that I was having with Alexis before, or rather Alexis Goldstein before, but, you know, she kind of raised this question on, okay, yeah, we have this one moment. And the news was like very thrilling to a lot of people to see. Arguably, there may be some things that are happening under, you know,
A
kind
lot
behind the
of people
curtain,
on
and
her
so it's not
chat are
just,
currently pumping up Dogecoin.
you know, Wall
So I
Street
just want to
bets
go and
that is
see
driving
what
up the
that's going to
stock
look
price,
like
but perhaps
right
other,
now while she speaks.
other actors involved too. But, you know, the thing that she brings up is, does this really change how the game is rigged and how our economy is rigged? And if not, like, what are some of those, I don't know, what are some of those, like, are there any glimmers or windows that you see for an everyday retail investor, someone who's just kind of, you know, buying stocks, or just anyone else that's at home watching all of this unfold?
For me personally, I think it's a twofold issue. One, you have the old idea that is you won't get in trouble if you rob from the poor, only if you do from the rich. Okay? And so that's kind of what we saw during the 2008 crisis, right? If you look into the politics of it. You know, the only person who went to prison, I won't say his name, but he got caught and went to prison. He stole from rich people. But the banks and all of those corporations who robbed the American people, they got bailed out. Sure, somebody got fired with a $50 million golden parachute package. All right. Now, not only did the small people get hurt on it, but two things came out of it. Well, one of them was also from equities trading, and that was, hey, if you have a small bank account, if you have under $25,000, we're not going to let you day trade, because we at the government know that we've got to protect you. Kind of what we heard from some of the brokerages today. We're gonna stop your ability to trade to mitigate the risk because we want to protect you. I mean, you know, and so, hey, listen, we're going to stop letting you do that because we know what's best for you.
Guys,
excuse me, government, you're telling me my $4,000 I can't day trade, but I can still go to the casino and put it all on red, right? Yeah, that's cool. But wait, but I can't do it $4,000.
guys
What about
look
the
at the
guy who has
chats?
$5 million? Oh wait, what about the guy who has $5 million of someone else's money who's betting that on? That's cool though, right?
Or shorting a stock for 130%.
Exactly. And then at the end of the day, not only does that happen, but it comes back to, you know,
This is
other
Dogecoin,
politicians
guys.
and whatnot. And I don't mean that, like, of course,
No,
you're
it's
newer
fine.
to the Congress, but what you have to look at it and say to yourself, okay, these politicians, who are their biggest donors? Hedge funds, banks, billionaires. Who stands to gain the most or lose the most from this? Who writes the laws? So now as a retail trader, I have to look and say, do I really think that my congressman and my senator who are funded by these people are going to write laws to protect me and hurt them?
Yep.
No, they're going to wait for the next news cycle story to happen, and then all of it's going to disappear.
I mean, listen, like, you're totally right. You're totally right. So one of the things that that Alexis was talking about was that, you know, what was happening here with Robinhood and with these trades were that everyday people were starting to be able to identify and exploit vulnerabilities in the system that has traditionally been cordoned off. And this is one huge example of that happening. But we've been seeing this happen across the board in so many other areas, and politics is one of them. So, you know, for example, not just me, but in 2018, there was this slew of freshmen. It was one of the largest freshman classes since Watergate. And one of the things that a lot of these like new members of Congress have in common is that they're some of the only ones that ran on promises to not take any corporate lobbyist money. And whether they were left, whether they were more conservative, that was one of the through lines. Like, you know, I don't take any lobbyist money. There are some people more conservative
Dogecoin
that don't
officially
take any
hit
lobbyist money.
0.06.
But that was like the
So,
one thing, regardless
that's
of your
crazy.
politics,
That's
that
just
was
insane.
starting to, you know, be shared in common.
And
the
doesn't
reason
look
we were
like
able
it's
to
stopping.
do that was because of technology. Because there are these new platforms, the same way like Robinhood allows you to buy a singular stock, or the way that you're able to kind of like get in the game with $5-10 in certain, you know, circumstances. Now it was a similar exploitation of our political system, where before if you wanted to have any influence in our political system, you needed to cut a $2,500 check. Who's going to do that? What kind of person has the money to just give $2,500 minimum, if not more, to a politician? I mean, that is just the wealthiest people in society that have the ability to not just give that, but also
What do you guys think?
organize
Should
and
we buy
bundle
some
it into
Dogecoin
billions
or
of
should we hold
dollars.
off on it?
And so
It does look like it's cooling
we're
off
kind of seeing
the
these like similar
0.06 number.
exploitations, and then now as
You guys
technology
think we should put
advances,
$100
it
in
starts to
Dogecoin?
actually small d democratize some of these systems, and people are starting to figure out all these little ways in which the game is rigged. And when you talk about this, I sit on the Financial Services Committee. I got that assignment when I first got to Congress. This is the committee that has jurisdiction over Wall Street. This is the committee that Mark Zuckerberg came in and the reason he came in under financial services was because he was trying to Facebook was trying to roll out Libra at the time, their own kind of crypto-esque currency. But also we've had Jamie Dimon, the CEO of JP Morgan Chase. We've had the CEOs of Goldman Sachs. We've had Steve Mnuchin at the Treasury come in. And we see these alignments all the time. Financial services used to be known as what is called a money committee. There are also other committees like Ways and Means, which writes our tax code, like Energy and Commerce, which is responsible for healthcare policy, oil and gas policy, etc. And they're known as money committees because if you are a member of Congress that gets assigned to one of these committees, you can raise a ton of money off of it. Because lobbyists will want to give you money, because CEOs will want to give you money, because some of the most wealthiest people in the country with vested interest in shaping policy in their direction will give you money. Because if you are assigned to that committee, then you get votes and determination and markups. You can amend laws, you can sink them, you can vote for them, you can turn them down. And so these are known as money committees. Now, financial services, I will say, in recent years has become a little bit less of a money committee because more non-corporate funded members have been getting on that committee and getting jurisdiction over financial issues, over Wall Street. But first of all, that doesn't mean that presence has gone away entirely. There's still very powerful people that raise a ton of money from lobbyists, but also you have people writing tax code. So these folks, for example, like when we talk about capital gains tax and you talk about these huge corporations or people who make billions of dollars off of these trades, they also get to keep it. They don't, that doesn't circle back in any way in terms of contributions, or the idea that they take away, charitable giving and reduce those deductions for people. Like these are absolutely what you're talking about. And so when we talk about the path forward, it's like, I'm interested in hearing your perspective as just an everyday person and someone who engages with everyday people. What is your take on shorting stocks, and what is your take on how beneficial some of these practices are by hedge funds? And what are like some of these modes of accountability that you want to see?
Just to me or Alex?
Guys,
Alexis,
if you haven't hit subscribe already, subscribe to the
We'll
channel.
start with you, and then we can move to Alexis.
I mean, like I said, there's so many fundamental issues that this touches upon. It's not something that can be changed overnight. In my personal opinion, because of how entrenched this money already is, and the way this is, and how difficult it's going to be to take this down. If anything, I'm expecting it just to be harder for the everyday, trader. And I don't want to make everyday traders look out like they're completely without blame. I mean, that's just dumb, right? You take a gamble, you buy an option, you buy a stock and equity. Sure, you're taking a gamble. And I understand that. But I was telling these guys earlier, you go to a casino and play blackjack, you understand the rules, you understand it's a gamble, you understand the house has odds. But imagine if you had a 20 on the blackjack table, the dealer had a 19. And you're like, I win. They go, no, wait a second. They pull out the deck of cards, shuffle through, find a 2, put it down and say, actually, we have a 21. At that point, it's like, okay, I understood the risks I was taking, but now we've moved to a whole nother direction. And the problem is that the government, the regulations that have always been and always are the pit bosses. You know what I mean? They come out, yeah, let me check on it. Let me do some regulation. Looks fine to me. Or you know what? You're right. I'm gonna change out the dealer. Do I get my money back? No, but we'll make some changes in the future. And that's what we're sitting at. So will there be changes? I mean, that's up to you. I mean, your constituents, I mean, not your constituents, your fellow congressmen and men and senators, that's up to you. And so I'm really hoping that at this point, it's almost not about the money anymore. It's almost about a message. It's, you know what? I fought the man. I may have lost, but I may have also won. And if this brings enough attention and I don't want to call it a plight because I'm not a martyr, but if this entire debacle brings about a change to where at least it evens the playing field a little bit, or you know what? I wrote this on my Twitter. Basically, I said, you know what? Institutions have been allowed for decades to gamble with trillions of dollars on equities, on commodities, on options, gambling with the American people's livelihoods. And no one blinks an eye. But the second, an everyday Joe gets a sliver of success, the world loses its mind. And we've got to find the boogeyman. We have to blame someone. Let's blame those kids on that Reddit forum called Wall Street Bets because they're ruining the system. Listen, if I need to be the guy that takes the fall, you know what? But my future, my kids' future are better off. Screw it. But they're pointing the finger in the wrong direction.
Yeah. Alexis, what do you think about like all of these folks trying to just blame random kids online? Not just kids, lots of people.
It is. So you asked how I felt about short selling. I have an answer for that doesn't feel appropriate. I will just say it's weak. I've never shorted a stock. Conceptually, right, you're basically betting a company will fail. You will make money when the company's share price goes down. In order to do that, you have to sell shares of the company you don't technically own. Already, it's a weak way to make, it's a bullshit way to make money, in my opinion. As an entrepreneur, as an investor in entrepreneurs, I love seeing people make money because they start a business, that business creates value for them, for their employees, for customers. That to me feels like an honest American way to make money. So yeah, if you ask me, I actually think hedge funds or just even the practice of short selling is kind of, it's a bullshit way to make money. But to do it in such an insanely leveraged way where they were able to reach numbers where they were able to short more shares than even existed. And it was exposed by some random, someone named Roaring Kitty on YouTube who was doing the research. And he
shout out.
Yeah, shout out. I mean, this guy, all credit to him, right? He's Unity. Now, here's the thing. So he decided to make an investment and buy into GameStop, and other people saw this video and the snowball starts rolling because he did his work. He made a very smart investment. Hedge funds do this all the time. Hedge fund versus hedge fund is like headline news in business press. It's almost like it's like Wall Street porn, right? Hedge fund after hedge fund in these exact same situations. The difference is, it was one clever person, Roaring Kitty with a YouTube channel, who shared his work with the world publicly. And other people saw it and said, yeah, actually, I think you're onto something. I agree. And then voted with their dollars and did literally the same thing that these funds do behind closed doors in cigar-filled rooms. They did out in public. And so I think it is that has manifested now into something that I think you're absolutely right, is about a statement. And it's not up, at the end of the day, it's up to folks like you, Congresswoman, to figure out what the plan is going forward. Yeah. I just know from, technology will keep moving forward.
That's right.
Communities and the sort of energy that folks have tapped into from all the way back in 2008, no one's going to forget tomorrow. No one's going to wake up in a week and be like, well, let's all go back to the way it was. The collective public cannot unsee this. And so I think there's going to be more and more energy to find more decentralized solutions. You're seeing, and again, I'm not a financial advisor. These are not financial recommendations. You're seeing cryptocurrency.
All right, guys. So I think we get the idea and we're understanding really where AOC is coming from, where her guests are coming from, what they are trying to cover. I do not think people will panic tomorrow. I do in fact think that tomorrow is going to be a good day in the market. So Dogecoin, let me just cover Dogecoin really quickly before I close the live chat. So Dogecoin, of course, was hyped up all the way here. Quick disclaimer, of course, I'm not invested in Dogecoin, nor do I plan on investing in Dogecoin at this moment. I may reconsider, or even if I do invest in it, you guys do see it in my portfolio for tomorrow, it is only going to be for entertainment purposes. So that is my take on Dogecoin. Now, the good thing about Dogecoin, I think, is that it is deregulated. The token doesn't really achieve much as per my understanding. I would rather invest my money personally in Bitcoin if I were going to invest it somewhere. But it seems like a lot of people are buying into Dogecoin and that coin is getting hyped. It is entirely possible that this coin goes up to where to double of where it is right now. It's just that the fundamentals really don't meet any criteria. It's just it's one of those YOLO meme tokens at this point, right? What do I see happening with the market tomorrow? I think the market tomorrow is going to hopefully be a little better than it was this week. Although there are no guarantees, we will have to watch how the Asian markets close in order to see where our markets are going to open. But I do have some calls that I'm very, very excited about. Let me quickly go over my account since I have you guys here and show you guys what my account is looking like. So as you all know, we're trying to hit $150,000. We will, I hope we will hit that by tomorrow. I really think that it is entirely possible that we hit $150,000 tomorrow. But what I am really excited about is in fact my Bitcoin holdings. My Bitcoin has gone up to, I believe, all-time highs at this point for me personally. So $34,000. My average on Bitcoin here is $27,000. So I'm still I'm still okay to where I'm going to continue to hold Bitcoin. My Ethereum, I believe, is doing a little better than my Bitcoin was. So I'm going to take a look at my Ethereum really quickly. If it loads, I would love to show you guys what my Ethereum is looking like. Okay, so my Ethereum is not actually at all-time highs. It's at 1344. My all-time highs for Ethereum was in the 1400s just a couple of days ago, as you all know. And just like that, guys, I'm going to end this live stream. We are going to get back on track tomorrow. We are going to, hopefully, I will try to cover some of the stocks and some of the ticker symbols that you guys send me. Also, I am going to be covering my portfolio end of market 7 p.m. Central like I do every day. And hopefully, once again, like I said earlier, we manage to hit that $150,000 number tomorrow. If we do, it's going to be a big day for the channel. It's going to be a big day for you guys. It's going to be a big day for the community. I do have a couple of stocks that I am doing due diligence on and I am interested in buying. I am also going to discuss that in later on, hopefully tomorrow. If not tomorrow, then definitely next week. And just like that, guys, I will see you guys